Hey, what's up dudes? Kevin here, and I will be showing you the deck I got 5th place with SS3 Goku, the reboot. I think this deck is very good. This leader is very powerful right now. I think it's the best, or one of the best blue defensive leaders right now, just because the untapping 3 is freaking bizarre. And the new cards that we have now that could be used with this leader is freaking amazing. But yeah, I got 5th place. I lost my first round, and that was the only round I lost, and it was a big bummer because first round, you don't want to start your day like that. But I lost to Marcus, and he ended up getting 2nd place. So shout out to him. He was playing a really good deck. The Crimson Warrior is really spicy. Little funny story of our matchup. I comboed to 155, and me thinking that he's not gonna be able to out-combo that, but he did. He out-comboed me, and then he ended up winning. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, congrats to him. He got 2nd place. He was my only loss. And yeah, I faced a lot of cool decks throughout the day. Yeah, U7, Sin, Black, and yeah, a lot of stuff. And honestly, the only matchup I was kind of worried about was probably the blue matchup, just because the SS3 Vegeta matchup could be a little tricky, just because you kind of want your opponent to hit you so you can awaken quick. But at the same time, you don't want their leader to hit you because then they're going to be able to ramp. And yeah, it's a very tricky matchup. But I didn't face any SS4 Vegeta, so maybe that's why I did pretty good. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the deck. I'm pretty confident about taking this to another event. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Another shout out as well was to my teammate Miguel. He got 10th place. He also got top 16, so he got his invite as well. So we're going to try to see if we can get his deck profile soon in the week for the channel. But yeah, we are gonna start the profile. We have 4 Pan. This is your main way of awakening, and why I chose this over other 1-drops that could give you double strike or crit, and there's a couple new ones too that untap an energy or restand itself. The reason why I like Pan so much is because it goes back to your hand, and this deck suffers with the lack of hand size in the beginning, because when you want to ramp, you're gonna have to bottom deck a card from your deck, and doing that sucks sometimes because you're losing out on some pretty cool cards in your hand. So Pan does 2 things: helps you awaken, and then it just becomes energy fodder at the end of the turn. When it goes back to your hand, you can just charge it at the start if you don't need it anymore. So she's all she is energy after you use her for awakening. And yeah, getting the early aggro sometimes is good too, because your leader on the awaken side, when he swings, he gains 5k. So he's gonna be swinging for 20k. So if you got some swings with Pan in the early game and you got your opponent to flip, they're gonna have an annoying time to defend against your leader swings, because he's swinging for 20. So they're gonna have to use super combos or something like that, and that could be good for you because you're making them use them. So another 1-drop we played that was really good was this East Kai. East Kai works wonders against decks that like to summon cards on your turn, and pretty much almost every deck does that. Either they have a floodgate negate that they want to stop your attacks with, and if you have multiple of these on the board, they're all going to trigger, and they're not even once per turn. That's the crazy part about it. So this card could be very annoying against some decks. It was such a good card, and if anything, it's just a cantrip for 1 draw to filter your deck. It's an awesome card. I really liked it. I think it's a staple in blue right now. Another card I played was this Goku. He's a new addition to the deck. He draws you a card. When you have 3 more energy, you can summon it. And yeah, it's a blocker, 15k. I usually use it for swinging and doing damage, and so I don't use cards in my hand because it replaces itself. It's really nice. Helped me out against some Sin matches, because some of the Sin decks like to kill like turn 2 or 3, and having a blocker on board was very useful for the triple strikers. So this card was amazing. Easy card to side out as well, because he's not very needed in the deck, but he's good to have. So I usually sided him out as an easy card to side out for cards that I needed to put in. Next card that is amazing in this deck is this Vegeta. You don't use the counter, but you just play it for 3 energy, bottom deck 2 battle cards your opponent has on the board, and he has dual attack. And he's 20k, so that's a lot of good value. And not to mention, since your leader untaps 3, so that's the perfect amount of energy that you could use in a turn. So yeah, you could untap and get all the energy back. He's really good to board clear because that's one of the things blue was missing. And since we lost the Galactic Buster because it went to just the Bojack leader, we can't play that one other Bojack without spending 3 energy, and it just doesn't feel that worth. So for 3 energy, bottom decking 2 cards with this card, it feels so much better. It doesn't have deflex, so you gotta be careful on what decks you summon it against, but it usually always hit the board, and this card's amazing. So the best defensive card we have in the deck is this Gohan. Gohan Baby's Minion. You negate the attack, and if your opponent wants to keep attacking, they're going to have to bottom deck a card for each card they choose to swing with. So it hits Unisons, leaders, battle cards, yada, yada, yada. Most of the time, your opponent's not going to go in for like 2 more hits or something. So it kind of just ends their attacks as soon as he hits the board. So he's really good. And it's 3 energy, so let's say for your turn, you play 3 energy, summon this guy, bottom deck 2 cards, and then you pass turn. You're tapping 3, so you have 3 energy open to summon this guy. Reason why I don't play the Vegeta, that's a 4 cost, and your opponent has to sack an energy in order to continue attacking, is because of that. I like having the 3 energy ready for the baby with the leader, and the Vegeta having 4 energy sometimes could be a little awkward, and sometimes results in you tapping out. And if your opponent has to counterplay for your Vegeta, it feels bad because now you're tapped out and you didn't get to floodgate them. So this card at least lets you pay the 3 and usually have more energy open to defend just in case they do have an answer for this card, because sometimes decks could have an answer to that. So another cool thing about him is that he has Servant, so it makes him a 25k. So it's an easy swing at your opponent and making them use a super combo if they want to defend the attack, or they're going to be taking the damage, which is great for you. And the only thing is that he's going to stick on the board in rest mode because Servant means that you can't untap him. But there's a cool card in the deck I'll show you later that you don't mind having more battle cards sticking around the field, so I'll get to that later. But yeah, this card is amazing for defense. I would max it out for. Next card we play whenever we have 4 energy. This is our optimal card to summon, and it's the Blue Unison. This card does so much for the deck. It's so good. And the way I think that you should be playing blue right now is that you got to play a blue leader that could ramp at least 1 card so you could get this guy a turn earlier. He does so much for blue. Draws you a card. He has double strike, blocker, and taps you in the energy each turn. Like, come on. This card's amazing. So with the comboing with the leader, you'll be untapping 3 during your turn with this, and then 1 during your opponent's turn with this guy, and then he untaps himself as well. And the removal for the -1 is amazing as well. Combos really well with another card in the deck, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But this Unison gives you so much value. Yeah, you want to play it at 4. God Sealing just because we play a Unison, and God Sealing is always good. Sometimes you could even play the 5 energy to use it. This is the next card that goes really well with the Blue Unison I was going to. It's this Goku, and it's a new addition from the latest set. This card's freaking amazing. Like I said, leader untaps you 3 energy, so that's the 3 energy you for sure will have to be able to use this guy with. And in combination with the Unison, since you're untapping 4 energy, you're gonna have 1 energy open. You're gonna be able to defend this guy just in case your opponent combos high. You'll have an extra energy to make sure that you could save him, like you could bean him, or there's another card play that could be used with him, like this card, Realm of Gods, Beerus Destroys. Having 4 energy and then dropping this guy feels really good. And not to mention Blue Unison, if they're swinging with something that's really high, like a 30k, let's say the Overwhelm, then you can always block with the Unison or use the -1 to bottom deck that threat. And then your opponent's just left with their leader or Unison to attack your leader, or they're going to have to really overcommit with the battle card, and more than likely you're going to be able to out-combo and save this guy. He has deflect, he has Barry, they're not going to be able to get rid of him. And he has triple strike, which is really good because it goes well with this next card, this Baby Golden Avenger. Baby the Golden Avenger is one of the best cards in his deck. I would want to play 3 or 4 of it, honestly, but because that's unique, you don't want to do that. 2 is a perfect number. You get to 5 energy really quick, and since your leader untaps 3 and you have a Boo Unison more than likely on the board, untapping 4 energy, paying 5 energy during your turn feels like nothing. And not to mention you got a triple striker onto your board and you get to bottom deck something, ignoring barrier. The card does so much. But like I was trying to say, you swing with this, your opponent negates with whatever, you're going to be able to counter with the baby and guarantee that this attack goes through. And sometimes you can just end games with the triple strike like that because he has barrier. So it's a safe card to go game for. And there's so many times I went in for game with this combo. It's pretty nuts. The next card I play is this Kefla. And honestly, this is a card that I wasn't playing before. But because of the collector binders and they look so nice, I was like, yeah, let me try to fit it in. And you know what? It works wonders. I love this card. This card's so good. It does feel like a little bit more of a Windmore card. But there are some times where drawing this card put me in a better position than I was before. So I felt like I was for sure going to win the game. And it works really well because you'll have about 8 cards that you can just play for 1 energy, which is the Gokus and the Kais. And usually these babies stick on the board. So like I was saying, the servant is still relevant because your opponent's not going to attack over them because they're not doing anything on the board. But because they're going to be serving as bodies on the board, blue bodies, the Kefla is going to be dropping down a lot more easier than not. And it's a 25 beater as well. You can only control 1 on the board, so keep that in mind. But the card's amazing, and I really like it. Next secret was Baby Hatch. That's no brainer. Like, Hatch is amazing. Super combo choice is the Vegeta. Sometimes against aggro matchups, you want to hold on to 1 or 2 of them in your hand just because you can awaken really easily. And it's a mono blue deck, so you never feel bad about ramping a non-blue card from your life. Next, we play 4 D Magics and 4 Beans. These are probably the cards that you're going to be bottom decking from your hand, honestly. But you want to max them out just because they're really good defensive cards. And you don't want to not play them because they're kind of dead in the beginning. And finally, the Beerus Destroys. I kind of previewed it earlier. Works really well with the Goku, protecting him and not losing card advantage. But honestly, this Beerus Destroys, it comes up relevant every now and then, just because when you combo with it during your opponent's turn, you draw a card, and you can bottom deck a 2 or less. And then some decks do play 2 or less, and sometimes when your opponent's side against you, like the Borgos or whatever, and they swing, you could just Beerus Destroys, bottom deck the Borgos, and there you go. You have a main board counter side for the Borgos, but also offensively you could combo with it and then bottom deck a card that's energy higher than your opponent's. So that comes up a lot. Could get rid of thwarting and stuff. But yeah, this card's amazing. I was playing at a 4, but I had to cut 1 for space. But I would recommend 3 to 4 copies of this card. It's so good. And like I said, this leader doesn't have a big hand in the beginning, so using cards that don't make you lose hand advantage is important. So that was pretty much the main deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to just give a quick shout out to my team. They all helped me test the dudes. Really proud of everyone's performance. A lot of us got X2. One of our guys almost got top 16. He got 18th place. He was also playing SS3. Unfortunately, and there's a funny thing that happened in one of the rounds of the tournament. I think it was round 6 or something, and all the X1 dudes, there were 6 of us, had to face each other. Yeah, that was I don't know. it was weird. So that's why a lot of us went X2. Half of us went X2 because half of us knocked the other half out. It was really tough, but it was a fun tournament. Shout out to Core TCG running a fantastic tournament. It was run really smoothly, and I had tons of fun. I met a lot of people. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you later, dudes.